straight right through from a local clinic where this was picked up, because I didn't have a clue. I didn't have any chest pains, never have, all the way through. Didn't feel the palpitations, no swelling or ankle or whatever, nothing at all. But every year I get blood tests with a local clinic, and the nurse called me back in 2004 because 2014, because my blood sugars were increasing. So she gave me a blood
blood pressure.
blood pressure, and she put one of these things on my finger. And when she saw the result of the pulse rate, she said, "Oh, I don't like the look of that." Gave me an ECG, and it kicked off from there. I was getting breathless, and I was getting really tired. When I was 57, I had 3 years left to go and work. I felt it then, didn't I? And Sonia, fair play, she went on to the internet, because I'd had polio when I was 18, and she looked at various things, and there's 10 points in later years of polio sufferers, and it's they call it the post-polio syndrome. Now, I could relate to all of them, really, and 2 of them were breathlessness and tiredness, which was what I had. But if I'd have picked it up sooner, I thought it was that. It was masking the true damage being done, because it had gone on for so long. It damaged the lower left ventricle, and it wasn't pumping enough oxygenated blood around, and that's why I was getting out of breath and tiredness, and the heart was going 100 miles an hour. But the care I've had all the way through since then, I can't fault anything. The only slight fault, I would say, my last procedure, an ablation, it took 8 months to get there.
The treatment he's had has been tremendous. Absolutely faultless, really. Because if he wasn't well at any point, first contact was the GP, obviously, and he was taken in straight away. Because the medication, one of the problems that he's got is that he reacts badly with the medication, because of the blood pressure and other different symptoms. So they've had to regulate him. But wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
But that's the physical side. The mental side where it affected me, and I really went down on this. Because I've always used weights,
and exercise,
nearly 50 years. Not big weights, but just to make sure, because I had polio, I wanted to tone the muscles and keep them going. And as I say, I've always done bench work and the rest of it. But of course, they told me then you won't be able to use weights again, and that really knocked me for 6. And I was really down. But fair play, Kath could see the way I was going, because in the end I was fed up with him waiting, because he wouldn't come back and tell me one way or the other. So I went on, and then Kath rang me up one day, and I said, "Hey Kath, I've just started again." Well, she was horrified, and she put me on the course then, and it did help a lot mentally, because there was physical. I know it was nothing to what I was doing, but there were physical things I could do, and I was talking to other people who had various heart conditions, and they gave you a talk after, and it was brilliant, and I moved on now to, I think they call it phase 4, which is
now in the community.
Yeah, it was down Marston Hospital, the first one, but I'm in a community rehab now, which is good.
Both of us were reacting differently to each other, because Barry was trying to sort of say, I'm fine, and I could see that he wasn't, and so you've got to readjust your way, because it's changed our lives completely, didn't it?
Definitely.
It was such a shock,
because
he wasn't 100%, but we didn't know he was as ill as he was, and that's the worst part of it, coming to terms with everything.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. The trouble is now, as I tell a lot of people, you come into they moan, they groan, and you know, I could slap them once I got like that. But you come into a time now that it's probably 2 generations coming up to the third that's always had the NHS. They don't know what it's like without the NHS. If they, if they did, they wouldn't be mourning. They really wouldn't. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It's anything that this country should be really, really proud of. I think it's the NHS. I really do. I'm getting choked there.
Yeah.
But I do feel that strongly about it.